Hello everyone, my name is Brittany and unfortunately the Biannual Bibliothon is over. I'm kind of sad. I did enjoy it. If you are like me and this was your first Biannual Bibliothon, you really enjoyed it and you're looking for another readathon, there is the Contemporary-A-Thon coming up. I will link the videos for all of the information down below for that. I will be doing my TBR for that. It comes up in February, I think it's the 12th through the 18th. So if you're wanting another good readathon, look out for that. It's much more laid back than the Biannual Bibliothon. There's no like video challenges or anything, but there are reading challenges and it's kind of just a good way to get some more books off your TBR. Today I'm doing my wrap up for the Biannual Bibliothon. So a couple of the books I did change out, and so I'm just going to give you my ratings on what I did read and what I didn't read. So let's get into that. First off, I figured out that I had a book on my currently reading, and it had been on my currently reading for a while. So it was like a good fourth of the way through the book, and it did have an audiobook portion. It was Shame on Me by Sivec. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. This is part of a trilogy that I get through Kindle Unlimited. Now I am planning on doing a full video review on the entire series. I do want to reread the first part of Shame on Me and the first book as well, because I did read Shame on You back in 2017 and I just want to reread it and get myself refreshed and kind of binge read the whole series because I did really enjoy the entire series. Now this is a series of adult contemporary books. They are very adult. I would not suggest them if you aren't looking for something that has a tiny bit of smut in it or a tiny bit of sex scenes. There are a couple of sex scenes within them. I gave this a 5-star rating. I did really enjoy this book. It was my favorite out of the 3. The reason that is I did connect more with Paige's character than the other 2 women. Also, I found that the humor in the end of the book and throughout the book was much more my humor style. Now, because they are different women and you're not following the same person, obviously there's going to be different humors within the different books. So, Paige's humor and the humor that was in this book made me honestly laugh out loud when I was reading the book. The second book I read was Shame on Him, which is the 3rd one in the Fool Me Once series that I get through Kindle Unlimited. Now, I rated this a 4-star rating. I did like Lorelai. I did love the hate to love relationship that was in this book. But again, Paige's humor just in the second book kind of blew me away and it was over the top. And so unfortunately I had to give this a 4-star rating instead of a 5 because even though there were funny parts, it wasn't the same as the second book. The 3rd book I read was Nancy Drew Diaries, Strangers on a Train. Now, this is the second in the more recent Nancy Drew books. It is more kind of up to date. She does use a laptop and they do have cell phones and texting and Google and all that stuff, whereas the older books like this one, which was originally on my TBR, which is Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase, this one is set, I think, in the 1950s or 60s. They don't have internet, they don't have phones, and I had this one on audiobook as well, and I was listening to it. I think I'm like halfway through it. I did end up returning it to my library, I do believe, because I wasn't feeling the old school vibes from the original Nancy Drew. But having the Nancy Drew Diaries, the second book, I did read the first book prior to this, which was Mystery on an Arctic Star or something like that. It was about being on a cruise. And so this was kind of the second installment in that series. I do have the 12th for some strange odd reason. I think I got it on sale in physical copy, but I've been reading these through the either the audiobook from Hoopla or my Kindle app. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The reason I did that was because I found one of the villains to be very predictable. I kind of predicted he was going to be a villain from the beginning of the first book. So I just thought that, with how predictable that particular villain was, it didn't really make it too much enjoyable. The fourth book I read, which I still love today, is Meade's Guide to the McGowan Boys. And I loved this as much as I did the first time. I have figured out why I love this book so much, and it is because Meade reminds me a lot of myself. At 13, I was pretty much exactly the same as she was, where she was very good, she never did anything wrong, she never talked back to her parents. I think that's why I like this book so much, and it holds a special place in my heart. I am going to do a full non-spoiler review on this, so check that out soon on my channel as well. The last book is Otherworld by Jason Segel and Kristen Miller. Now, I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I understand why people love this book, and I can see why they do love this book, but unfortunately for me, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I found it to be very unfocused. I didn't know really what the actual plot line was until about 115 pages through the book. I just didn't understand what these characters had to do with Otherworld and why we're getting 115 pages of contemporary when it's supposed to be kind of an alternate reality series. It also is a bit on the non-conventional side. There is some death in it, as well as some really weird animals that apparently are cannibals, but I just didn't like it, and I think I'm probably like one of the only people that didn't like it. I am about 3/4 of the way through the book, and I will probably finish it in the next couple of days, but I just needed a break from it. It was just a little bit too much for me. And also, another thing about this is when I was reading it on the last day of the readathon, I kind of got that feeling that I get sometimes when I'm doing too much homework and my brain is just not able to understand any more information. It basically feels like my brain is melting. So it just kind of was just a bit too much for my reading style. I'm much more of a contemporary reader, and all I wanted to do was just get to the end and find out if the two main characters are going to find each other and fall in love again. So, yeah. A couple of books that I mentioned on my TBR that I happened to be thinking of and pulled out that I did not end up getting to. I already mentioned Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase, but also The Library Surrender the Key, as well as the second book in the Emily Winsnap series. I didn't get to any of those, but I filled them with other things, so I just kind of wanted to be flexible with this first going of the Biannual Bibliothon. So unfortunately I didn't get to that, but I wanted to let you know what books served what challenge. So I have them written on my computer, so if I'm looking down, that's why. So number 1 was read the group book, Otherworld. Number 2, read a sequel. Shame on Me counted for that, but also Nancy Drew and Strangers on the Train, that counted as a sequel as well because it's the second book. And then if you're counting a third book as a sequel, Shame on Him would count as well. Read a book you've never heard before, that would be Otherworld. Read a book that involves mental illness, Meade, one of the McGowan boys, it does have Asperger's, so. Read a book that was mentioned in another movie or media or book or something. This I kind of took loosely. I did more of a character, which is Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew has been named in a ton of things. Nancy Drew is an iconic character throughout history, and I don't think that she's going away anytime soon. Read a book under 200 pages. Both Shame on Him and Shame on Me were under 200 pages. Read a backlist title. Now this one, again, all of the books except for Otherworld were backlist titles. Nancy Drew was, I think, 2013. This was 2004. Shame on Me, I think, was 2013, and Shame on Him was 2014. So all of those counted. But that's pretty much it. I hope that you had a great biannual bibliothon. If you would like to watch any of my vlogs, I do have a playlist that I'll link below. I daily vlogged throughout the entire thing, and now that it is Sunday after the readathon, I feel very weird that I didn't wake up and go, hey guys, guess what I'm doing today? Or, hey guys, so this is what I did last night reading. So I definitely feel weird not vlogging, but with the Contemporary-A-Thon coming up, I will probably vlog that. But that's pretty much it for today. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you liked all of my videos for the Biannual Bibliothon, and I hope to see you again. Bye.